Hello and welcome once again to Hoyt's Points. I'm Hoyt, and this is the third part in a series talking about the Taken Hold characters using the magic of tier lists. Today I'm talking about Soldier of Fortune Frankie, the Cold War character. Joining me this week is the current First Wars champion, Ethiom. He told me to come meet him here to talk about Frankie, where he has the top spot on the hardcore board with 205,180. Ethiom also has the board for standard health with a score of over 280,000. That score seemed a little bit too high to me, so I asked him about it, and he let me in on the secret. It was kind of an accident, really. He was playing
It's bad boy. Gotcha.
Alright, I'm here with Ethiom. Ethiom, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing quite well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing alright. I'm lucky to have grabbed you on the week that you're at the top of the Frankie board, not Spanners.
It does it does seem to sort of fluctuate every other week. Yeah, we're still duking it out to this day.
So how many Steam hours do you have on H3VR?
As of right now, I have 848 hours over a period of about 3 years of playing the game.
Wow, that's quite the accomplishment.
I mean, you could call it that if you want. I would call it a mild obsession, but I'm sure I think accomplishment's a slightly nicer way of putting it.
Today we're talking about Soldier of Fortune Frankie. What is it that you like about Soldier of Fortune Frankie?
So the main thing that I really, really like about Soldier of Fortune Frankie is that compared to some of the other characters, it seems to be the most straightforward. Like for the past over a year now, I've been running Operator Ori one hit in an attempt to get to the top of that leaderboard, and Operator Ori in some places can just end up being really, really frustrating if you just keep getting screwed over by RNG or just bad encryptions, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So Frankie just has that really, really nice balance of straightforward encryptions, not that challenging SOSIGs, and just all around really, really nice, satisfying, strong guns to use. It's a very no nonsense, get in, get out, shoot straight, shoot true, and you'll do really, really well. That's why it's got, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, Soldier of Fortune Frankie has, from what I've seen, the highest skill ceiling potential out of all the characters, just because it's so straightforward and quick. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like Grayson, but with upgraded guns that don't get in your way.
Absolutely. It's all of the guns are so nice to use.
All right, we're going into the tier list now. Um, if you haven't watched the other videos, we are assuming that you are spawn locking. You have standard health. You're doing a 5-hold run in hallways. You're running tournament rules where you get to re-roll your starting weapon 3 times, but after that, you're trying to finish with a highest score as possible, no reloading. And what do these tiers mean? Um, S tier is an automatic buy. If you see it in the shop, you're picking it up, no questions asked. S tier, you're happy to see it, and on down to F tier, where F tier is never buy. But something in C or D tier might be a utility that you might not pull the trigger on ever, but there might be another reason for buying it. So we are starting with the attachments here. With the silencer. Ethiom, do you buy the silencer?
I do occasionally. So the silencer, the suppressor is generally going to be the first attachment I'll buy just because it does hold quite an interesting utility. Being that if you are running any sort of, I guess, hold that really relies on, if you want to try and maximize your points, you need to have a good rotation. through the holds to try and take out as many Sosigs as possible. The first thing that jumps to mind is on Seed 8, you have hold 4, which is
Mm-hmm.
in, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, light blue room?
Yeah, teal. The name always escapes me.
Yeah. Or teal room. Yeah, it's the one that sort of that square, that square room that goes down has the staircase that goes down into the buy station
Mm-hmm.
underneath on the bottom level on the like the yellow basement
Yeah,
sort of deal.
I'll flash a thing so everybody
Yeah.
knows the room.
Yeah, so with that, something like that hold, you really, really need to have a good rotation. And a lot of time that can happen is if you're making loud noises like gunshots, a lot of the time Sosigs can get really, really spooked and not want to push into the hold too quickly. So a suppressor or something can actively mitigate that sort of suppression that happens. That also is also really, really important if you're on a hold where Sosigs are likely to accidentally take the back routes
Yeah,
through some weird pathing to get into the thing. It sort of prevents them from doing that. So
the
on that
suppressor keeps
instance,
them running.
exactly, it doesn't freak them out because they're going into the fire. So in that instance, I would almost put it. I would say either A tier or B tier, just because it doesn't supplement a bad weapon, but it definitely is the first thing I think that will really really help a good weapon.
Yeah, probably the best thing out of all the attachments.
Yeah,
Uh, the compensator. This gives you
now,
like a 35 to 45% recoil reduction.
yes. Now, I don't run the compensator very, very frequently. I think I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've actually bought a compensator in take and hold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not denying that it's a very, very useful utility. If you've got a gun that just kicks like a mule, like a full auto battle rifle or something, and you really, really want to run that to the end, a compensator could be a really, really good investment for you. However, it's so expensive. Like 5 points?
Yeah,
Like that's an entire in some of the later holds, that's an entire really solid gun right there, especially in Frankie where like you can get through the entire run on a 3 point SMG and do
yeah.
a really good score. So the point investment is just not there for me.
Yeah, that's almost two full mag upgrades. There's a
Mm,
lot of things you could buy instead of this. So, what do you think?
yeah.
It does help. Like, it makes your gun
Mm.
better. So, C tier?
I would say CT, yeah. Like if you're absolutely balling and you're just rolling in points,
Mm-hmm.
then a compensator could 100% be a really, really good investment. Um, but I do think there would be other things that are better to spend your points on. This is like sort of like the last thing if you're looking for actual usefulness
Yeah.
that you would buy.
The stock.
Um, the stock is an interesting one because I mean, we're in Frankie, we're in the Cold War. The Cold War had this weird obsession with chopping the stocks off of a lot of their
It
guns.
totally did like suitcase guns galore.
Yeah. When like I get the point, you could also just make your stock collapsible, which I mean a lot of the guns did. A lot of the guns, their stocks are actually collapsible or foldable, so you know you could also have just done that instead of gone to it with a hacksaw. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I would probably chuck the 1 point stock up in B tier or A tier. It sort of floats in between depending on the run. It's very situational. But it's one of those. It's just one of those attachments that I will, because it's 1 point. It's so cheap in the grand scheme of things. I will tend to sort of buy it preemptively if it appears before hold one or around before hold two.
Uh huh.
I will. I'll generally grab it just because if I get some sort of stockless SMG or a stockless pump action shotgun or something like that, even if it's to put on a starting revolver or something just to mitigate that recoil, it's nice to have, and it's not that much of a point sink
So
at
you'll
the end of the
just
day.
snap it up, put it in your pocket for maybe later.
Yeah, and if I get to hold 3 or hold 4 and I don't have a use for it, then I might chuck it out, and I'm not going to feel too upset about it because that 1 point is such a negligible amount in the grand scheme of things.
All right. Are you going to break the pattern that we have of the pointy objects going straight into fun tier?
Uh, Chuck it straight into F tier.
Yeah.
On I can fairly comfortably say that I can count on one hand the number of times I've bought a bayonet, and I can really comfortably say I have never bought the single point melee weapon because I.
Yeah.
If you run at a challenge run, then I guess maybe it's interesting. Like if you're trying to, I don't know, do throwing melee weapons only, and just you're just throwing knives and tomahawks at Sosigs all day long.
That
I
sounds
guess it's
fun, but
useful.
I don't think that's a great way to get a good score.
It sounds fun. I don't know. To me, it sounds fun in the same way that playing in traffic is also fun. Like it's you're there for the thrill of it all, but you're not really expecting anything great to come of it.
All right. We're on to our second helping of vegetables, which is the Powerup Sausages.
I don't know if contentious is the right word, but it's definitely variable depending on how the run is going.
Okay.
So, first things first, health weenie.
Health Weenie.
5 points.
5 whole points.
Yikes.
Insane amount of cash to get your health back up.
Loads of money. I just think for what it provides, it is not considering that almost every character starts out with a health weenie anyway to get you from 0 to 5,000 health in an instant. I just don't think it's worth the points ever.
Oh yeah. And
Like
you really prefer running one hit runs anyway. So I mean,
yeah,
instead of buying this, just don't get shot.
yeah, it's I mean yeah. If you're I mean yeah, if you're really struggling on to get through a full hold without this, I mean, absolutely buy it because getting from A to like getting through a full run can be really helpful to sort of figure out the pacing of a character.
Mm-hmm.
I would go about that with other methods, like going through it with a custom health that's a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
However, if you're very new to the game and sort of just wanting to see everything, it's not a there are better investments, put it that way. I
Yeah.
would never run this actually seriously. I would never buy it
No.
actually seriously.
Invest in yourself, okay? You
Yes.
don't need this.
Invest in firepower, which we're about to discuss, I think.
Yeah, the bullet boost now.
Right. Bullet boost. I like to call this one, are you feeling lucky?
Yeah.
Because you're basically playing a coin flip.
The disparity between the two things that you get's pretty high.
Yeah, especially in this character. Like, if you're... In other characters where, bullet boost being the one that you get, in other characters, that can be really useful. Like, if you're running, I don't know, a low penetrating, or, sorry, like a super high penetrating round that doesn't actually do that much physical damage,
Mm-hmm.
then that can be really useful to just pop heads.
Or
But
barriers.
or barriers, if you're taking down barriers, absolutely. However, I would say the the utility that infinite ammo provides in some of the later holds is really almost second to none. I would almost put bullet boost, especially if we're talking about standard health. Yeah, chucking it S tier.
Yeah,
This is a long way of me saying go into S tier.
Yeah, I think that's our first S tier right there.
Yeah, in the context of standard health, I guess it's immediately better than the shield / ghost.
Yeah.
Just because you have a lot of high rate of fire weapons in Soldier Fortune Frankie, especially towards the end of it, that you can just
Just hold it down.
yeah, to be able to just hold down the trigger and spray and pray a little bit is just so useful, especially with taking out some of those encryptions.
And the price is right. At 2 points, you can roll this 2-3 times maybe, going into hold 5.
Yep.
Easy.
I've absolutely been in the instance where I've bought the ammo power weenie and rolled a bullet boost and gone, I might pump that once more, because then it's 3 tokens, and that's the same as a shield anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. When are you usually using your bullet boost?
So
Or
bullet boost / infinite ammo,
yeah.
I'm typically looking at popping this in 5th hold. Towards the end. Like, I have everything in the context of seed 8, because that's the primary seed that I run to go for leaderboards.
Yeah.
So in that instance, yes, hold 5, just because you have that speed meet round in wave 2 of the hold, where Sosigs are spawning pretty much all as quickly as you can kill them, and any time lost to, unless you've got a really nice, say like AR or something with a really clean magwell and deep magazines in there, then you're gonna be losing time and therefore points on trying to reload.
Yeah. The melee dog, the muscle meat. Where does it
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to chuck this in F.
go? Ooh.
I've never found a use for this. I can think of one potential use, and it's not very good. Because I remember the discussions, and I watched your previous video actually, with muscle meat reducing the recoil on some guns.
Yeah, you can fire like a battle rifle one-handed full auto and it stays steady. It is
Yeah.
genuinely cool.
The utility on that, though, I question. Just because, and also I've never, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I haven't seen that recoil control. So again, it's most likely that I'm doing it wrong. But yeah, the only other thing is that it does also, not only does it, I believe it does increase your melee damage, it also increases your throwing distance, like by a factor of 5.
Wow.
So if you really just want to just yeet a grenade halfway across Northeast Dakota, you can do that now. The fuse may run out if before it hits the ground, but
Yeah,
that's a question for another day. Yeah, use impact nades, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to role play as a little mortar team without the mortar piece bit, sure.
That's fun. That's very fun.
Yeah,
Fun tier.
but yeah, absolutely. It's there for the sort of semi-goofy nature of it, but yeah.
All right. That means we're on to the shield dog.
Shield Dog, I'm going to say I would immediately chuck this up in A tier.
Okay.
Just because it is, again, in the context of standard health, a lot of the times that I would, because I run one hit a fair bit, there are a couple of places that I would think I would want to use this. Again, mainly your sort of hold 5, hold 5 either at the end of wave 1 or at the end of wave 2.
Yeah.
However, if we're running standard health, I would generally at that point just use my health as, it's another resource, the same as tokens, and I think some people in the past have said that as well.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah, it's something that if you are confident that you're going to get through this without taking too many shots, health is just almost like free time to just stand there and not shoot Sosigs. There are some places where it is really useful, especially in this instance, the ghost over the shield. If you don't want any distractions of having Sosigs actively shooting at you, then the ghost can be really good for that. If you don't want to get distracted at all,
Yeah.
in a particularly tight point of encryptions, sure, like that's still really useful. But in standard health, I think it's way less useful than infinite ammo.
Yeah. And then we're on to the final, the random dog.
Um,
You could get one of these, or you could get
that's
one of these.
that's what I'm saying. So in that instance, it's and you could also get the illustrious and elusive uh what's it called?
Cyclops?
Cyclops, which I have run occasionally. I have occasionally run the Cyclops, and it can be useful sometimes. I remember talking to Spanners for a while ago because at the end of Hold 5, sorry, at the beginning of Hold 5, the first encryptions that spawn are, I think, anywhere like up to maybe beyond like maybe 12 static encryptions that
Mm-hmm.
all spawn in. So the we were sort of discussing the usefulness of Cyclops in that instance, where if you just stand in a corner of the room
And just cut
and
through them
just,
all.
yeah, just sweep your head across and try and cut through them all, that certainly is useful. But I wouldn't depend. I wouldn't rely on that. I've tried to use it. I tried to use it once specifically for that because I got that opportunity. Didn't end well. It was not as useful as as firing an actual gun, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Where we don't have a graphic for it, but where would you put the Cyclops dog in usefulness if you
Oh,
could reliably get it?
oh God. B,
B?
just because, maybe A, just because it is nice. It's like infinite ammo, but the trigger is stuck. Like it's just wherever you stare, death quickly follows.
Yeah.
It's just you can't take your finger off that trigger. So in that instance, it is quite useful. However, it's for taking out SOSIG specifically. However, encryptions, it sort of loses it a little bit on some of them, particularly hardened encryptions, because I'm fairly certain. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it won't penetrate through the actual shielded bits of hardened encryptions, but
And
I
it's
haven't actually
also
tested it.
annoying.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of have to. Whenever I run it and people are watching, I sort of have to chuck in a quick seizure warning because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just glaring light.
Overall, what do you think about C tier for the rando dog? Right in the
I'm
middle.
thinking C. Yeah, it's a nice balance between the up and the low.
Oh yeah, we also have our grenades. Okay.
So technically, it can rock the stun grenade. However,
Are
yeah,
you
the other
rocking the
two,
stun grenade?
nope.
Yeah.
I'd rather shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
Just because. I mean, again, okay, sorry, that's not true. I have a very very quick story. So where when you are running Frankie and you get to the end of hold 5, this is actually the same with Operator Ori as well. If you get to the end of hold 5, sorry, the beginning of hold 5, you have 2 waves of SOSIGs to get through, and then the encryptions pop in. However, there is a chance that the encryptions will pop in a little bit late, and the third wave of SOSIGs would have spawned.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, in the place that I like to hold, which is right near the top of the stairs, to get all those encryptions, so I can stare down the dark hallway and look up above. Like I'm crouched down to, if you're looking at the hallway, to the right side of the stairs at yellow top room.
Right.
There is When you're doing that, there is a pretty decent chance that those SOSIGs will come round the corner, directly to your right, see you and shoot you. And because I often run one hit, that's an instant game over.
Right.
I have specifically once used smoke correctly to pop smoke in that doorway so SOSIGs couldn't see me when I started shooting at the encryptions.
That's a
And
very specific edge case.
yes it is. And I don't know whether or not it was actually necessary, but it was my last 2 tokens, and I just figured, what the hell? I'm not gonna buy anything else.
Yeah. So you threw a smoke grenade once. Are you ever
Yes.
throwing an explosive grenade?
I threw an explosive grenade once for exactly the same reason. To kill the SOSIGs in that same spot before they rounded the corner. I chucked it preemptively because it was a stick grenade and it has a very very long fuse time
Mm-hmm.
to blow up those Sosigs just before they could even essentially spawn in properly, just so they weren't a hassle. However, I would typically still put this in F, and honestly, if there was an F minus minus tier, I would I would put that there.
Yeah. If you want to get back to the spawn room so that you can see Ethiom at the top of the board faster, that's how you do it.
Yeah. It's they're more likely to be a hassle than an actual help, just because throwing things. I don't know about other people, but throwing things in VR has never been my strong suit. Even with something like index controls, where you can actively let go of them,
Yeah.
it's never ended well.
No. All right. We're finally on to our main course of guns. Everybody loves guns, talking about guns. Hold one.
Mm.
You're looking for something to buy, maybe. Maybe you didn't
hmm
get the greatest gun from the box. So, which of these are you happy to see?
Out of the ones for Frankie, I would be most happy with the single point pistol, and everything else sort of gets sidelined.
Single point pistol going in A, B?
I would I would chuck it in A, just because the the starting weapon that you can get for Frankie, a lot of the time it's genuinely really really good. There's a couple of duds in there in the hallways. I particularly think the bolt actions are sort of your duds. But the number of really really strong pistols you can start with, especially with three chances in tournament rules
Yeah.
to re-roll. Yeah. However, out of all of, again, the single point pistols, 90% of them are really really good. So even if you do start with a terrible weapon, that single point pistol is going to be 9 times out of 10, it's going to be really really good for you.
Now let's talk about those bolt actions because the bolt actions in the Frankie pool, I do not like them.
I'm not a fan either. What? Sorry,
Because
no.
most of them have a fixed scope that cannot be removed.
I'll go one further with that and say both of them have a fixed scope,
Yeah.
because
And
there
we're
are
in
only two.
hallways.
Yeah, there are
I'm
only
throwing
two.
that into F tier. I don't care what you say. That's staying right there.
I don't disagree. So yeah, if I'm running Northeast Dakota, again, Frankie is easily my favorite my favorite character to run, just because those starting bolt actions, particularly the M40A1. Oh my god, that's a gorgeous gun to run on Northeast Dakota. That's
Yeah.
easily the nicest and easiest sniper to use.
Yeah. If you're having a nice chill out session on Northeast Dakota, rolling that thing first hold, it's great. When you open that
It's
box and see that scope,
Yeah,
choice.
I've spent entire, like, when I've run Northeast Dakota one hits for a while. And yeah, for Frankie, I essentially just sit there and I just keep respawning until I got the M48 one, because it's just so gorgeous to use. And it's basically that gun where it's like, okay, well, this I'm going to use this gun for the rest of the playthrough.
Yeah, but if you're rolling hallways and you pull that thing out, you're like trying to find some kind of bolts to line up with the barrel so that you can use those as like makeshift sights. You're not
Yep.
happy.
No, you're not happy at all, and even less happy with something like the FRF2, just
Yeah.
because, yeah, that's just not their utility. That's not where they sit, and they don't spawn with red dots, so there's literally no reason for them.
The break action shotgun. You can roll the flare gun in Frankie as far as I know. Very fun.
Yeah, whoopee. um, yeah. Look, the break action shotguns a lot of the time I think are just not very very strong, especially
No.
since, I mean, they can be good if you get a nice double barrel shotgun. They can be really really nice to take out those Sosigs,
Mhm.
because that's two shots, two kills, and that's the only thing that comes through on the first hold. However, taking out encryptions is an entirely other story. So yeah, I wouldn't really bother. So I would almost chuck that in either D or F.
I think
I
it lets you start rolling shotgun ammo earlier. I think it's got a little bit of utility.
I would tend to agree. Yeah.
The 2-point hold one shotgun pump
Mm-hmm.
action.
Yes. So the 2-point pump action shotgun, you have there are only 2 guns in this pool, looking at the equipment pool that I can see. Sorry. There are 3 guns in this equipment pool. 2 of them are the same gun. Or actually, maybe it's the one's the stocked version, the other one's the stockless version, and the Stevens 124C.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look up the Stevens real quick because I don't remember gun names very well. The Stevens? The Stevens is the straight pull. Yeah, that's the
Oh,
straight pull
the
bolted.
the
Like,
one with the in and out like toggle thing.
yes,
Oh my god, what a piece of junk.
it's no, thank you.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can either roll. So the MB500 is the only really good one there, and you have essentially a 1 in 3 chance of getting that with a stock.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a no from me, dog. Like if you, it's great as a starting weapon, but if you don't have it at that point, I would just say no.
Is it better than the break action? Just
God no.
no? All right.
Uh, I mean, I guess again it can be, but I would keep it in D tier just because weirdly that bump from 1 point to 2 points makes me second guess it a lot.
Yeah. It's no
So
longer free if you recycle it later.
yeah, exactly.
And we're finishing up hold one here with the revolver. The revolver
Um,
roll.
I would I would say the revolver roll is a fairly confident B tier,
Okay.
just because it's 1 point, it's completely free. There's no downside strictly to rolling it. I mean, if you're rolling it to rely on it, you are kind of a little bit screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guns in that pool are what you've got: the Detective Special 38 and runs 38. Was it 38 Special or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really short barrel. You're more likely to nail the neighbor's dog than actually hit what you're trying to shoot. So yeah, the FA-83 is that's what's it called? It's a single, not single shot, but
Single
and it's
action.
really, yeah, and it's really high caliber. The Hawk 357, same problem, and the Smith and Wesson 29, again, same problem. You're really looking for a Python in there out of good guns, but I mean, it's free, so if you
Yeah.
want to, sure.
And, they're probably the best backup thing that you can just have in a pocket in case you run out shooting the first wave of encryptions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
Not bad.
not bad at all.
All right. We cleared hold one. We run into the shops at hold two. What are we hoping to see here?
Um, well, we have to address the elephant in the room.
What's the
We
elephant?
The elephant in the room is that gorgeous 2-point a tube-fed shotgun.
There it goes,
And
folks. It's going to S tier.
can you like keep pushing it further to the top of the webpage? Just keep ascending it towards God. Like it's just this is S plus plus because the
Yeah.
only thing you can roll in this until Anton decides to spoil all our fun is the nice stocked Spas 12. And that is, I have a running gag, which is whenever I see this roll, I just say, okay, we've won, Frankie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even better than it is an Ori, and an Oreo is instant grab S tier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
even better here. It
it's
it even comes with a stock. Can you believe
it
it?
comes with a gorgeous folding stock and like not bad iron sights.
Yeah. If you're running for score, you want this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're sad
Like
if
I,
you don't see it.
yeah, you're well, you're mildly disappointed, but you are just over the moon if you do see it. Like this is the one gun that I will grab even if I see a roll in any other point in take and hold, if I see a roll that I know for a fact I'm going to run, I will still check out all the other shops just so I know what I'm getting myself into. This is, I think, the only roll I've ever really gotten where I just go, okay, yeah, I'm buying this immediately.
Yeah. Yep. Bolt action. I think we still don't like the bolt action.
Yep, keep that in F.
Does the break action shotgun slip down a little?
I would tend to agree. Yeah, it does sort of just yeah.
Machine pistol.
Machine pistol. Now, I'm gonna go a little bit, maybe a bit controversial here. I'm gonna say this is either B or A tier.
Ooh, B or A. We like the
Yeah,
machine pistol.
yeah, but this is definitely a gamble against, and I would only really buy this if for like if one particular thing doesn't pop up, and we'll get to that later. But I didn't realize because I'm so used to the Operator Ori machine pistol pool, which basically has like the G18C or the Glock. I think it's the Glock 22.
Yeah, the Glock or the Glock.
Yeah. And they're both sort of, if you don't have a stock, you're putting most of your bullets into the ceiling with those things. So I was so used to having those two guns and just going, okay, well, there's no real point in rolling that ever, until I rolled it in Frankie, and the micro Uzi popped out.
Yeah, that's a nice roll.
That's a really nice roll because it also has a folding stock, which I was like, oh wow, this is actually really really good. It's got a really really nice high rate of fire. You can very quickly, if you have the opportunity, put some really high capacity mags in it.
Yeah.
I mean, the pool is sort of a little bit spoiled because you can get stuff like the G18 and the like the Tech 9 full auto mod and stuff like that.
Yeah, a
But
little bit of a gamble, but like the Scorpion, the VZ61, great encryption popper and comes with its own stock as well.
I believe as well. Let me check real quick. Apologies, I'm googling guns at the moment. So yeah, and you can also get the yeah. So the what's it say? Yeah, the Scorpion comes with its own stock, as you said. The other thing that I didn't realize is the Beretta 93R is another thing that you can get in there. That spawns with a stock, like a detachable stock.
It does?
It does.
Well,
I
that
don't know if
actually
that's
makes it usable.
yeah. I don't like. That's what I was saying. I don't know if that's like a chance roll sort of thing. Like sometimes maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Like I think I've only really rolled it once and taken hold, and it spawned with a stock, and I was like, oh, that's surprisingly usable. So for that instance, yeah, I'll chuck it in A. It doesn't go into S because, yeah, you do have the, like I said, you can run the G18 or the APS, which does sort of spoil it a little bit, but it's way stronger than I gave it credit for. Before I realized that you can get stuff like the micro Uzi out of it, I would have chucked this down in F tier. But
Yeah. And also on hold 2, you're still only dealing with statics, so we're really not worried about stopping power at all. I guess we could talk about the SMG next. Is it better or worse than the machine pistol roll? It's more expensive by 1.
I would say it is. Yeah, it's a lot more useful. I would. This is the probably the only other. This is looking at everything else. This is the second last S ranking that we're probably gonna see.
All right. It's
Just
up there.
because, yeah, just because the stuff that you can get out of this is so nice, and it's genuinely usable till the end, basically. Like I've
a lot of the stuff can get drum mags, huge capacity.
yeah. Especially if you roll something like an MP5 as well. The MP5 goes straight. The MP5 9mm versions go straight from that 30 rounds mag to the 100 round double drum, which is just insane.
What kind of ammo are you hoping for when you're running like the machine pistol or the SMG roll?
Typically, I'm going to be looking for hollow points. Just because the ability to pop heads so quickly and also do more straight up damage to barricades and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hollow point has the most utility because you're never going to be really running like battling against any form of difficult to deal with armor in Frankie. Like I think there's two enemies that have armor. One has soft body armor and a helmet, and the other one has a face shield and running a tank top. Like
Yeah.
you want that flesh damage.
Yeah. We are moving on to the pistol, the shotgun, the revolver.
Um, I would say I think everything essentially at this point gets knocked down a fair bit more. So given just compared to the overall strength of
Mm-hmm.
some of the stuff you can get, I would say single point pistol I would bump down to C, and both others chuck them into F, maybe D.
Okay.
Just because like I said, at this point in hold 2 you have the opportunity to get either a SPAS 12 or one of the really really nice SMGs. Is Yeah, the utility that you can get out of that is just overpoweringly more useful. So I would if one of those popped up, like one of those 1 point or 2 point weapon sort of thing, I would start to sort of re-roll just to get an SMG or a SPAS in my hands.
Right. We're on to hold 3. The first time we're not going to be seeing only static encryptions. And also the first time we're going to be seeing both the AR roll and the mag-fed shoddy roll. Oh, and the BR roll.
Mm-hmm.
So, I let's start out with our former S tiers. Are they still S tiers?
I would say so. This is the interesting thing about Frankie is that if you're not rocking at this point a 3 point SMG, if you don't have a 3 point SMG going at exiting hold 2,
Mm-hmm.
you're likely going to have a SPAS 12, and if you don't have either, I would or a machine pistol sort of thing. If you don't have one of those three, I'm sort of like, what's gone wrong here? What critical miscalculations happened here? Because they're just so useful. So I guess in that instance, yeah,
Yeah, if you're
the
in the bad
3 point SMG,
timeline where you didn't get either one of these,
yeah, it's sort of a no-brainer at this point.
both of them still S?
I would say so, yeah. Um, See, it's tricky because we there is particularly one other sort of elephant in the room in that regard that may bump them down insofar as usefulness.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we can also just at this point sort of separate the wheat from the chaff a little bit.
Yeah.
That single point bolt action, slam it down into the depths of Tartarus where it belongs. Same with the single point revolver, and I think also the auto pistol also belongs in F, just because like I sung a lot of praise for it in hold 2, but at this point especially because again I've got seed 8 in mind, and at this point you're running Red Room.
It
That
served its usefulness.
Yeah, it's served its usefulness. It's been very very good to us, but we really need to let it go at this point.
Yeah. New Kids on the Block. The AR roll.
Now, AR roll can be really 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 good,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be mediocre. It's sort of you're putting your hands in RNG a little bit.
I don't think there's as many stinkers in the pool as the Ori one, but some of them are still there.
Absolutely. I'm looking at some of the ones in here. I think the main two that I'd be really really worried about rolling is the Mini 14 or the SKS Classic.
Ooh, yeah. I also, for my money, I don't like the VSS or the AS Val. Just the
That
caliber, I could do
that's
without it.
fair. I generally agree. The only thing that I would sort of say is if we were talking about operator Ori, absolutely 100% agree. I think 9 by 39 millimeter is a very much, well, in a lot of instances, an overhyped round.
Yeah.
The penetration power on it is almost negligible. However, again, because we're in Frankie, it's sort of like you don't need to worry about penetration,
Yeah,
which is
that's
just
true.
such a nice thing. So yeah, the only thing that's really really bad about it, and a couple of the other guns in here as well. Like I'm looking at the some of the other guns here, like the Org A1, blessed be it. It's waffling goodness. You can't upgrade the mags in it.
Nope. Stuck at 30.
So yeah, you're stuck at 30 with that. I think does the FAMAS F1 take Stanag mags, or is it have
No,
its
I think
weird?
that's the straight mag that you can't upgrade.
Yeah, so you've got that as well. But you've just got some. I mean, I think the other one is that the AR-18P. I think yeah, that can only take up to 30 or maybe 40 round mags because it's got its own proprietary mag type. Yeah, there's some really, really good ones in here. If you rock the one of the new M4s, holy, that's a good thing. So I despite its transgressions, I generally run this almost every time. So I would see, now that I say it out loud, I really want to put it in S tier, but looking at the pool, I'm like, there is actually a handful of stinkers in here.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to by my own rules. I kind of have to put it in A.
Yeah. It's a good workhorse roll. You're happy about it.
Yeah, and if I check real quick, I'm pretty sure both times Spanners and I have set really really good. The latest times that we set really really good Frankie rolls, we both rolled the M16A3, which is the full auto version, and oh, that's just a beautiful gun to roll, especially with the AR-15 refresh that happened. Wow, that's just a beautiful gun. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean you can also yeah.
Let's talk about the other king of high score runs, the USAS that you can get from the mag shoddy pool.
I have a love-hate relationship with this role.
Because it always gives you the cause.
It always gives me that damned CAWS.
The last time I tried to run Frankie, it gave it to me 3 times in a row. I melted down all my guns to roll it a third time, and I still only got the cause.
Yep. It is just I've been joking around with this in the first to worst Discord by sort of saying that I think Anton should add a reciprocating saw to the game because I genuinely think that I could improve the CAWS tenfold with about 5 minutes and a reciprocating saw.
Yeah,
Just slice that optic off the top of it and try to fashion some crude iron sights out of the stumps that remain.
yeah,
That would probably be more useful.
100% agree. Just the scope, the integrated scope, just ruins it. I actually really like 12 gauge belted the ammo that it uses. It's really nice, but you have to like and it like the sides of it are entirely smooth, so you don't even have any like nubbins to line up.
Yeah. I've actually found I've ended up resorting to, and this is indicative of the desperation involved in rolling this gun. There is a seam at the top of the like on top of the scope where the very clear sort of plastic injection mold has folded together, where they've sort of glued this thing together. There is a seam that runs down the middle of that scope, and I've been basically using that to line it up horizontally and then just sort of guessing the verticality on
Yeah.
how far away it is.
Gutter sights, but worse.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
but you can still get the USAS. The
you can
USAS,
still
we
get the
we love it.
USAS.
It's your beloved.
Mm-hmm.
But how spoiled is the pool?
Every bit of me wants to say USAS my beloved and put it in A, but I kind of have to relegate it back to B,
Okay.
which hurts my soul in the most fundamental way, because USAS my beloved, but that damn CAWS just keeps rearing its head and making me very upset. And for that instance, like I've been bitten so many times by that, where I'll more likely run the 6 AR roll than I will the mag fed shotty.
And we're on to the battle rifle.
See, the battle rifle's weird because I don't personally run it. However, I know a lot of people that swear by the battle rifles in most characters.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some really, really good guns in here that I'm seeing. Like you can get pardon me, you can get stuff like the Dragonov is a gun in this weapon pool.
Yeah.
I actually need to look up some of these guns because I never run this pool, particularly because oh yeah, you can get the G3.
The G3, yeah, I think that's like the high roll here.
Yeah.
Or the
Because
foul.
that can yeah, you can get the FAL, which is a really, really nice just a gorgeous gun. But then there are a couple of just really not good ones in there, because you can get the H51, which is I
Why is it like that?
I don't
Who
know.
did that?
Who hurt this thing? Like uh I don't know. But like I said, like you can get some good things in here. Like there's the M14, really, really nice long barrel, I think decent iron sights.
Yep.
The LAR, I'm not too sure about. The other one is I'd be questioned to see, does the WA 2000 spawn with its scope? If it does, meh. I think it does. So yeah, there's a couple of good ones, a couple of bad ones in here. And again, I know a lot of people really, really like rocking the battle rifles. I just question. My main question to those people is, what do you need that extra firepower for?
Yeah, that's my
Like,
point. Like you're suffering lower ammo counts, higher recoil
mm,
for what? What's the benefit?
I I don't know.
It makes
Especially in
They
mm,
usually make a more satisfying noise.
mm, yeah, and I mean, if we're rocking, like I said, if we're running something like what's it called, Northeast Dakota, then they definitely come into their own, because they're that ability to reach out and touch a SOSIG at range. I mean,
It's
at this
nice.
point, it is nice. I mean, in my opinion, I'm still just rocking the M40A1, because that thing is just the queen of Northeast Dakota. That bolt action, but I mean,
But we're
I
not
guess
out
sure
we're not out in the greatest north. We're little goblins in our hallways, in our little
we are.
corridors. So where does the BR go?
I'm gonna break a lot of hearts, and I'm gonna say D tier.
Boom. You know
It's
what?
it's
I like it.
Yeah,
Hot
it's
take.
very harsh, but it's like I just go, I don't know why you're rocking that in the hallways.
No. Capacity's king and it just gives it up for nothing.
Yeah,
Hold 4. We've still got our ARs, we got some BRs, and we got a new kid on the block, the Thumper.
we do. I think we'll touch on a couple of things that I think we can blast through relatively quickly.
Sure.
I think 6 point battle rifle, I'm gonna still put that in D tier.
Yep.
8 point battle rifle, I'm trying to look at what's in there. 8 point battle rifle. I mean, you sort of it's the same thing
Yep.
with that. So I'd put that in D tier as well, just because I mean there are better rolls than that, but you're also spending an extra 2 points on a not very useful gun. Again, magfag shoddy, I kind of need to put this back in B again, just because it runs the same problems.
Mm-hmm.
You USAS my beloved, however, CAWS, boo, stinky. Yeah.
All right. Does the SMG finally fall out of S tier?
I think it does. Not because it's become any less good of a role, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is still at this point, like, the pool hasn't changed
Yep.
at all. The only reason that it's coming out of, I would say, if at this point, if it's coming out of S tier, I would almost at this point bump it down to B tier, maybe even C, because this is quite a, and I know that, like, that's quite a large jump downwards, but I do seriously have to question at this point. Like, I sort of raised an eyebrow buying it going into hold 3, but at this point, if you're not going into hold 4 with the gun that you're basically going to complete the run with Frankie.
Yeah. You're shopping for end game. You're not shopping for SMGs anymore.
Yeah, yeah. But this is the thing. The SMG is 100% can be and sometimes is an end game role.
Mm-hmm.
But I seriously have to question your financial decisions if you're trying to buy this going into hold 4.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, if you're rocking if you want to get into the SMG game, you kind of need to have had it by hold 2, and at this point, you're looking to upgrade the mag on this thing.
AR and his brother also the AR. Where are these
Okay.
going?
6-point AR. I kind of need to chuck this down into B tier again, just because it sort of has the same things as the 3-point SMG at this point. Like, going into hold 4, you really shouldn't be buying guns, in my opinion. You really need to be looking at, just because of the strength that is offered by a lot of these guns, you need to look at upgrading your magazines on your existing guns, because 9 times out of 10 they're actually going to be a really, really strong gun. Or you're looking at power up weenies, like we sort of discussed at the beginning. Like, that's the sort of mindset that I would be looking at.
Yeah.
Not only because even if your gun isn't that good, like, most of the time on Frankie, your gun's going to be really, really solid at this point. But even if it isn't, I would sort of say it's a question of, it's better the devil when it's the devil you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I often find if you're trying to switch up guns going into hold 4, or even worse, hold 5, if you're run out a brand new gun at this point, you're more likely going to run into problems of being not used to the gun you're running.
Yeah. So in a blessed timeline, we've already found our partner that we're dancing with. We're just buying them nice presents.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. The 8-point AR, though, comes with bigger mags. Does it go
Does.
up?
No.
No.
I'm going to say, I'm going to be controversial. Chuck that down 2 spots.
Ooh, because of how expensive it is, the 8 points.
It's expensive, which means again, looking at this 8-point pool, you've got stuff like, you've got some really, really decent weapons in here. Like, you've got some really, really nice stuff in this 8-point assault rifle pool.
You can get the G11, the G11.
The G11.
It has like one of the best ammos in the entire
Oh
game.
yeah, absolutely.
But
And because
it's not the tactical version. It's got that stupid scope on it.
it's got that stupid scope on it, and it's a pain in the butt to reload.
Yeah. You don't pocket load as far as I know. I don't think I've ever seen you do it.
The only gun I will really pocket load with is the P90, and just because that is a trying to and even that, I will sometimes be, if I'm not in a stressful situation, I'll reload the P90 properly, because it is nice to do that gun properly. However, if you're under pressure, just reloading that gun properly is just a nightmare of clipping and physics interactions.
Now, if I could take you on a little bit of a tangent here,
Mm-hmm.
You don't do any of the things that I would consider like a little bit cheesy, things that I personally do, like
Mm-hmm.
the two hand, like the pistol style one hand holding,
Mm-hmm.
pocket loading, mag pocket loading, all of these things that people do to edge out a little bit more. Do you ever feel like not doing those things puts you behind?
I would personally say no. On the topic of uh, what's it called, the grabbing the grabbing the gun with the rear hand sort of thing, and
Mm-hmm.
pistol gripping it. I don't do that just because I've gotten so used to the two-handed gripping it. Some guns I'll do it, like if I'm running like an AUG or sometimes a P90, where that those two grip points are so close together that you might be fumbling more than you will be grabbing.
Yeah, that's
I did the same
understandable.
thing. I did the same thing before the rework. I did the same thing with the Chris Vector as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just because before the rework, you were more likely to grab the mag or the charging handle than the actual grip point.
Yeah, AK-12 Proto. You
Yep,
always grabbing the charging handle on that thing.
yep. No, I agree as well. There's a lot of those little guns like that where it can be that case, but I've just run into it where I don't know, I find it more comfortable, more natural to grab it two handed. Again, though, that there's no like you only in the grand scheme of things, there's only a very slight difference between the recoil control between between pistol gripping and two handed gripping. So in that instance, there's not much difference.
Yeah, one of the things I like is that it seems like it's been proven pretty definitively that these things are just all personal preference and they don't really add score or take it away in any meaningful way.
Absolutely, it's a, sort of a case of in my instance, and this applies to all of these things, whether the how you grab it or pocket loading or mag pocket loading, it just turns into a case of getting comfortable and getting into a good rhythm. You sort of knowing. I don't know if this probably isn't the right word, but sort of like your manual of arms with a lot of these guns and being able to comfortably handle them in the way you find easy and repeatable and can handle under stress. That's the main thing you're really going to be looking for. However you go about that is, I don't think it's anyone's business.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. H3VR, folks, it's a well designed game.
Yeah,
We enjoy it.
it's it is, and it's yeah, like it's no, and this is, I mean, you can go even further with this, like we sort of talked about. You talked about with Sethri, twin stick versus arm swinger. It's a lot of this stuff is just personal preference, which I genuinely quite like because it turns into a case of you can have friendly debates about that sort of thing. Like we
Mm-hmm.
had the twin sticker versus arm swinger war that was rather funny, sort of thing. And you can say just silly stuff like a twin sticker will say, "Oh, I can shoot forwards while moving backwards, ha!" And it's like, "Well, I can move faster than you as an arm swinger." Like it's all just it's funny and it's
Yeah.
fun, and there's no strong this side is definitely better or this thing is better for this explicit reason, and I'm going to commit to this 100%, and I'm going to talk down on anyone that says like it's just
Yeah. The good
it's the
news
funny
is
hot dog game.
you're whoever's listening to this, you're already playing the right way. You just need to get better at it.
Yeah, yeah, it's just proficiency. That's all it is.
Back on track. I'm swerving
Yeah.
back onto the road. We're leaving dust trails from all the dirt we just drove through. And
Yes.
what we have found in the back seat is a rocket launcher.
Yes, we
Oh
have.
wait, not the rocket launcher, the thumper. The rocket launcher's down here. It's actually a
Yes.
rocket launcher,
Yes.
but the
Um
thumper.
3-point thumper. Um Can we make a new tier called F minus minus? um,
Maybe later.
Maybe later. No, this is an instant F for me.
Yeah.
And all of the explosive types are actually going to fall into this point. And it goes even so far as beyond the risk involved with them. The problem that I have with the any explosive guns is that they are not only really, really risky because you have a chance to detonate yourself, they're actually actively harmful to your score.
Because you don't get those you don't get headshot bonus.
You lose your headshot bonus, which is, it may not feel like very much, but it is when you're rocking really, really trying to punch through and get some really, really high score with some of these boards and these characters. Yeah, you want every bit of points you can get.
Every edge you can eke out, and
Yeah,
getting leg kills will kill your score.
absolutely. I mean, again, ask me again in about a month when we're rocking the new character in the new map, and I will probably have a different question. So I
Yeah.
have a different response to that.
Anton even hinted at a new scoring system, but we really can't get into that right now.
No, I don't know anything about that, so I couldn't even if I wanted to.
All right, so hold five. We're coming to the end here, and all explosives straight
Yep.
into F. Easy
Straight
money.
into F. Yeah, easily. I don't think there's any actual. Is there a difference between the 10-point battle rifle pool and the no? The only thing you can get out of the 10-point battle rifle pool, from what I can see, is the PSG-1. Yeah. So
Got one of those
in that
scopes
instance,
on it.
yeah. So in that instance, that goes straight into F tier.
Ooh, boom.
Yeah, just because, like, even if you were looking to go crazy with your battle rifles, the 11-point is not where you want.
No.
It sort of unfortunately gets quite rather easy at this point. I would almost say those first 3 points for the point I made before, if you really don't want to be switching weapons at this point, all 3 of those go into D tier, I would say.
Okay.
Just because, again, even if you're rocking a subpar weapon, it is again just a case of it's better the devil when it's the devil, you know.
Don't
need
change your
to
horse
have-
in the middle of a stream or whatever it is.
Exactly. Like, you really need to be saying, like, cutting your losses, and you're looking for those. An infinite ammo dog or a shield dog is going to provide you with way more utility than any other gun.
And
at
like
this
you
point.
said, the pool in the entire character is pretty strong. Chances are you've found something by now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if you've still got 12 whole points to spend, which is like an insane amount of money,
Yeah.
are you buying the minigun roll?
I am not. I would put this into. This is sort of like an F plus for me,
Okay.
which may sound harsh. However, I think, like, I'm looking at what's in here. You can get the M16A3, which you can get out of the 6-point AR pool anyway. I think the only difference is that you get it with high capacity mag straight out of the gate.
Yep.
AKS 74U, again, that's just an AR with probably the drum mags. I need to look up a couple of these because I'm not so sure with
You
it.
can get the M60, which is, I think, the only that's really the only high caliber one. The M60 roll. Everything else is just an assault rifle with a big old mag slapped on it,
Yeah, absolutely. What's the other one?
or
I'm
even
looking
a box
at.
mag. You could get the
what is
Stoner
that gun?
63 420
Yes.
LMG.
That's what I was going to say. Like, the Stoner 63 LMG is sort of my favorite gun out of that entire pool. Just because, and it sort of, it goes to, this is why it's going into F plus here, because it is a good gun, but it is definitely just a fun gun. It
Yeah.
is that, to sit there and that slow, heavy rate of fire that the Stoner provides is just so unfathomably satisfying to hear. To hear that gun rattle away as you shoot it is genuinely really, really fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the last of the tier list.
Mm.
How's it looking?
I'm quite happy with it. Again, this is the main takeaway that I think for people trying to run Frankie is a lot of the guns that you'll get from the start are really, really strong. So you want to be looking for that that 3 point SMG roll or that 2 point SPAS 12 going into hold two.
Hmm.
And then for me, the next thing after that is that 6 point AR. And 9 times out of 10, you are going to get quite a good gun
Yeah.
out of that. I think you're more likely to get bitten on that 6 point AR. But even if you do, the SMGs and in Frankie are really, really, really nice. And it does work out. That's the thing. Like even the less good roles in this character are still really, really fun and satisfying and generally pretty easy to run.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Frankie is very forgiving with its weapons.
Mm, absolutely. Frankie gives you a lot of avenue to just have a good time, have a good fun run. It's like I said, it's the character that I go to when I'm frustrated with all the other characters. If I'm frustrated from running Ori and having to like reset the run at halfway through hold three for like
Yeah.
the fifth time in a row,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just run Frankie a little bit and all is right with the world. So yeah.
All right. Ethiom, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Um, you can find me pretty much all anywhere you like, Twitch, YouTube. If you find me anywhere else, let me know. I'd be sort of confused. Um, but no, anywhere, just look up Ethiom 101 and you'll most likely find me.
All right. Thanks for listening. I've been Hoyt.
I've been Ethiom.
Have a nice day.